Hi, it's Ash from nettTracker. Now, if you use Xero and you need to prepare regular management accounts on an accrual basis, meaning you need to make adjustments for prepayments, accruals, deferred income, as well as your adjustments for depreciation, nettTracker can help you save a lot of time. Let me show you how. In this Xero file that I've just created, there are no income or expenditure items recorded, so the profit and loss is reporting zero for the period January to December 23. The only thing that I have got in here is within the balance sheet. If I just run the balance sheet report for the same period, the only thing I have in here are some fixed asset balances and some balances relating to prepayments. Now in nettTracker I have a multi-company subscription. I've not yet though created a company that relates to the Xero file that I just had open. I'm going to do this all from scratch in real time, and this is something we only need to do the once. I'm going to go into my account, choose to create a new company, select my subscription and connect to Xero. I'm going to allow access. So this is bringing information in from Xero. I will actually change the reporting period because I actually want to go back from January 23 on this particular file. So let me just select that particular date and let's change that to as well to December 23. The other company settings, I can change those later if needed. So I've just want to make sure that I've got the right financial year in there. The company name also come through automatically and the currency also detected. So I'll just choose the option to create that new company. I'll work through the setup wizard. The depreciation rules, I can add further depreciation rules. I don't need to at this point in time. So I'll just click next. I have computer equipment and motor vehicles. I'm actually going to change that to office equipment and motor vehicles, and I'll put a default depreciation rule in there for either both of those two, which I can amend if I need to. I'll save those asset groups, and I'll need to now just make sure that these asset groups are linked to my accounts in Xero. So I'm going to select those, the depreciation balance sheet account, and the same for the profit and loss. Now I'll just go on to what accounts I'm going to use for disposals. So I'm going to use the same accounts, in fact. Oh, that's office equipment. That's motor vehicles. Now, there are no accounts in there for the disposal of assets, it appears at the moment, so I'm going to allow nettTracker to create those additional accounts for me. If I need to make year-end adjusting journals, nettTracker can do that. In this example, I'm not going to use that feature, so I'm simply going to finish and save. So at that point in time, I can see that I've got balances that have been detected from Xero relating to my fixed assets. I have not yet got the asset register into nettTracker. I'm running on the financial year at this point, January to December 23, with the next reporting period not yet processed of January 23. Now I'm also going to monitor prepayments in this file, so I'm going to make sure that that feature is enabled, and I'll create a new group which is going to be for prepayments, and this is for prepaid expenses, and you can have more than one account. I have not mapped that to the balance sheet, so I need to make sure that that account is also mapped to the balance sheet account for prepayments. And I'll just choose to finish and save there. So my basic settings are now in place for my fixed assets and my prepayments, and now I just need to bring those balances in. Before I bring my opening balances in place for my fixed assets and my prepayments, I can actually see on the dashboard I also have a balance there detected for my prepayments. So my Xero balance sheet value, that's also coming through now into nettTracker. Now the next thing I need to do is import my fixed asset opening balances, importing my asset register in effect, and I'm going to do that by going to the asset register menu, choosing the option here to import assets. The first thing I need to do in fact is download my template. Now this is the only thing I'm not going to do fully real time, because it will just mean you'll be watching me copy and paste some data into some cells. But effectively what I have in front of my screen now is the asset register import template. There's some instructions at the top, and there'd also be some additional instructions in the body of this area too. Now these column headers that are all in yellow are mandatory. I must put some information within there. So I've got the name of the asset group. So I've got office equipment, and further down I have motor vehicles, so the two asset groups that I set up. You can have a lot more than that. I've got the depreciation rule used against every item. In this example, happens to be the same on every line, but it could be completely different on each line if needed. The purchase date of each asset, the depreciation start date. Now the depreciation start date, that could be left blank. It will default to the purchase date if it is blank. You can defer the depreciation. Again, I don't need it here. What I do need is the description of every asset, what the original purchase cost was for each asset, and what the accumulated depreciation is at this point in time. So it could be fully depreciated. That doesn't matter. If I come down a little bit further, we can see some of the newer assets have not fully depreciated. With my import template complete, I'm simply going to choose the file, select the file to import. I don't see any red boxes around any of these lines or columns, which means everything should be fine. So I'm simply going to complete the import and proceed with that import now. And now I have my two asset groups, office equipment, motor vehicles, with all of the information on there that I need. And if I just pop back to the dashboard, I can see that that summary now agrees exactly with the balance sheet. Now I'm going to repeat that process pretty much for my prepayment. So I'll select my accruals and prepayments at the top. I've got the option here to import prepaid expenses. Again, we download a template. Very much like the fixed asset register import template, there are some instructions at the top to save you from watching me copy and paste into this file. I've already got my information here. I've got the group name, so prepayments, simply in the group name, the description of each of my prepayments, the profit and loss account that is affected by the prepayment adjustments, the actual invoice date. In this example, because I'm starting a new financial year and actually bringing in opening balances as of the 1st of January, this is all going to be 1st of January. If you were putting in a prepayment part the way through a year and that value was actually still in the profit and loss, then you can choose to make sure that that invoice date is there, and it will then automatically remove the value out of the profit and loss for you and put it into the balance sheet. I've got the value, basically the current balance remaining of all of these prepayments, and I'm indicating here that these values already exist in the balance sheet. If I didn't put a Y in here, then nettTracker will assume that I want to remove that value from the profit and loss and put it in the balance sheet first. I've got a start date, which is the start date from when my calculations are based. All of the journals are actually posted at the end of each month, but I will, in this example, have 31 days worth of adjustments to be made during January. I've got 18 months left on that particular line because I've got 5 months and then 2 lots of 12 there. So back to my import screen, I'm just going to choose the file, select the Xero prepayments. I can see all of those values are already in the balance sheet. I'll complete the import. If I scroll down, I've now got a total value of prepayments that agrees to the prepayments in my Xero balance sheet. And if I go to look at the prepayment statement, these are all currently sitting there pending, but the total value of prepayments again agreeing to what's in the balance sheet. So the next thing I'm going to do is head over to the dashboard now, and I'll request company processing. Now I can either do this for the 1 month for January, or I'm actually going to do 4 months in one hit here, so I'm going to choose to go up to the end of April and process. Processing the company has done a couple of things. First of all, it's updated the fixed asset values, so now those values have gone down, depreciation has been processed. In fact, if I go to the depreciation forecast, just change that page size. So for each of those 2 asset groups, for my office equipment, I can see the depreciation that has been posted up until the end of April, what is due to be posted over the following months, and the same for my motor vehicles if I've still got values left there. If I take a look at my accruals and prepayments, so I could look at the projections. I can see the adjustments that have been made every single month. So I've got adjustments that have been made against that prepayment. I've got 1 month left. And if I do actually look at my statement of prepayments, I can see the balances remaining on each of those prepayments, again all agreeing back to the balance sheet. If we go back to the Xero file, looking at the adjustments that have been made by nettTracker alone, we can see the depreciation that has been posted for every single one of those 4 months. And then as a result of the prepayments, we've got adjustments going in there for cost of goods sold, as well as insurance, legal expenses and subscriptions. Using nettTracker with Xero, you can fully automate the entire fixed asset process. You can also automate your adjustments for accruals and prepayments, as well as those journals being created automatically. Statements are constantly updated that should always reconcile back to your balance sheet. Loans are coming very soon, due autumn winter 2024, so automating your adjustments for your interest, as well as updating statements that will also agree back to your balance sheet. To learn more, request a demo, take out a free trial, please visit the website nett-tracker.com, or to ask us any questions at all, please feel free to drop an email to save-time@nett-tracker.com. Thank you.